Hey, good morning, everybody. Today is April 6th. It is day 57 of your free real estate education. And I'll tell you what, at this point, the adults have passed the high school students, and that the high school student and his dad, which are really my two high school students, they're already licensed. They're up and running. They're branded. So they've been hanging out with me this whole time. But last week they went on vacation, and this week they went back to school. So he's teaching 2 to 5 Monday through Friday, and James is back to school. He's playing volleyball now. So I'm really happy for them. But what that means is with James and Fred fully licensed, up and running, with them back to school, Monday through Friday, they've been showing up for the Monday class and the Socratic discussion they said they're hopefully going to make. But it's just you and me, guys. It's you guys and it's me now. And there's no longer really a high school course because they're done. The two people that were really with me from the beginning are licensed. They're up and running. So I'm very excited about that. Of course, from the beginning, we only had a total of 5 high school students that had enrolled, but we've now had over 100 adults enroll in this course. And so even though, it looks like there's 2 people watching here on Facebook, we put these up on YouTube. We've got one more person, Barbara, who's with us right now on Zoom, but we've had over 100 adults start their real estate education with us in the last 57 days. And I think that that's really phenomenal. I think that that's great. And of course, a big part of that is that let me go and move this stuff. It just looks, there we go. It's just bleeding out my camera. So of course, with everything being the way that it is, the high school students being licensed, with the adults having over 100 adults enrolled in their real estate courses, everybody's sort of on their own time. They're on their own schedule. There are people who have been here 90% of the time. Of course, Christy Champagne Caruso is one of them. Chardonnay, and we've been very fortunate this semester in that we've already seen several people get licensed. Mom's is scheduled for take 2 on that test. Deanna's scheduled for take 2 on her test. So we've also developed a network at this point. So if you are, in another state and you need help getting licensed, you can tap into that network with Stuart Jacobson and Real Estate Exam Study Group, because your network will determine your net worth. The more people that we can help in the more states that we can help them in, the more businesses that we could help, get involved in this sort of a network, help them create this sort of a different way of doing real estate together. I think that we could really figure it out. And so a lot of people are saying, oh, well, what if I don't want to be involved in the merchant market? Or what if I don't want to be involved in this or that? It's like, these are all ideas. Like you can sort of do what you want to do. But what I'm looking for is I'm looking for people to be who they already are, get out there and work in a way that maybe you have not thought of before. Maybe you've been licensed for a little while and you've decided that you want to teach. Maybe you're just getting licensed and you're like, you know what? In a couple of years, I really want to get into high schools and I want to teach real estate. Maybe you're a lender that's tuned in and you're like, you know what? I want to teach a loan licensing course or whatever. I want this to, carry on past this initial inspiration. And I think that it already is. So I've had a lot of people ask me, and in fact, yesterday was another day where I had someone reach out to me and say, hey, I'm getting licensed. Are you going to be teaching again? And this happens just about, probably twice a week or so. Hey, are you going to be doing this course again? So it's all on YouTube. You know what? I really want the accountability of like being held accountable every 18 days and et cetera and so forth. Maybe someone else will teach a real estate school. But this is something that we're doing, that I'm doing once, that I'm hoping that someone else will then pick up, because all of these classes are out there and then they can take it and run with it. Okay. All right. So we're going to tap in right now to day 57 of real estate school. We're going to talk about an encroachment, crossing the line, which is chapter 10 of real estate law. We're going to talk about trespass, which is a violation of possession. And we're going to talk about chapter 12, which is nuisance, something that is offensive and unhealthful. And of course, like I said, we're sort of winding down right now. This is the last 5 weeks, which is the last trimester of real estate school. We were squeezing in 6 chapters a day in the first, 5 weeks, and then it was 4 chapters a day, and now it's 3 chapters a day on something that just like class is going to be a little bit quicker, a bit easier to get through. So we're not going to really dwell on a whole heck of a lot. We're going to talk as much as we need to talk, and then we're going to pop off. Cool? Cool. All right. Radical. Here we go. Today's day 57. This is my Bob Ross part of the day. We're going to make a couple of happy little marks on this board right now. Okay, here we go. Day 57. We're going to talk about encroachments. We're going to talk about trespass. And we are going to talk about a nuisance. Everybody loves to root for a nuisance. No, we're not talking about M&M. We're talking about disturbances, nuisances, etc., and so forth in the real estate world. Okay, here we go. Let's get into it, make it quick, and get on with our day. How's that for being inspiring? You tell how much I love real estate law. Okay, so an encroachment is when somebody builds on someone else's property. They obstruct someone's property in some way or another. So, let's say your name's Bob the Farmer. Legal last name Bob the Farmer. Your property is this, and there's this little happy tree down here, little happy tree, and then so that's sort of like a land marker, and then there's this little draw that makes it so that this little river runs through or whatnot. So anyway, that's your land. That's your happy little piece of land. Now, Bob the Farmer, because you really like the way that the water comes through right here during that time of year, you decided, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my happy little house for my lovely family, my fat, plump wife, and my plump little children. To be well fed, and then we're going to build everything over here for the cows and whatnot. And then, so there's a bunch of happy little cows that have no idea what's waiting for them, and that's the steer. And here's all the other happy little cows. Okay, and then you got the pigs and the chickens. And I won't draw all of them today. We'll do that next time. Okay, so but what you did here. Farmer Bob the Farmer, I'm sorry. It's the Farmer Bob on all of the legal documents where the last name comes first. Okay, so Bob the Farmer built his happy little house on this person's land. Now, Bob the Farmer didn't realize what he was doing, so it's not like, Bob the Farmer's a bad guy. Nobody has lived here for a long time. Nobody's been around. And so Bob the Farmer is like, well, I think that my property line's right here. He did the best that he could, but Bob the Farmer messed up. He's encroached on another person's piece of land. So what happens is these people come in, and then they have the land, or they go in, they buy the piece of property. They are under the assumption, because a surveyor has never been out to this piece of property before, and they're looking at Google Maps, and they hired a real estate agent who did the best that they could. You know what I mean? But they weren't really interested in trying to figure out where the property line was. And so the agent said, hey, listen, they said that your property line goes down to that tree or so down there. And then the seller said that it's pretty much right up to that main road. And so you end up with this sort of backwards idea of where it is based on speculation, instead of, like we said in the past, a buyer has to do their due diligence. They have to make sure what that what they're buying is what they're buying. But what ends up happening is, it turns out that it's this plot. They have the land surveyed. They find out that Bob the farmer built his house for his plump little wife and his plump little kids, his plump cows and plump pigs, on this person's land. So they have encroached on their land. And so at this point, in most situations, they're not going to make Bob the farmer tear his house down, but they're going to assess damages or make them pay for it or whatever ends up happening. But that's what an encroachment is. Now they have to decide what's going to happen to Bob the farmer and his plump wife, his plump kids. And the cows and the pigs are probably going to be okay because they're over there on Bob the farmer's land. But Bob the farmer might be toast. Got an echo out there through Facebook land. Okay, trespass. Let's not get freaking crazy with this. You guys know what trespass means, am I right? Do I got to explain trespass? Okay, so listen, trespass is, let's go back to Bob the farmer. No. Bob the farmer has a piece of land, and these kids think they're going to go cow tipping. Okay? But they're dumb kids, and they don't realize that's not the movies. You don't tip over a cow that's sleeping, you idiot. You watch Chris Farley movies too many times. So they go and they trespass onto Bob the farmer's land. Bob the farmer is well armed because he owns a farm. We'll stop there. But anyway, trespass. Come on. I have to over-explain that crap. Nuisance. So, gosh, here we are. Why don't we jump into this? Because there's something really stupid happening right now in French Valley. Okay. Something really profoundly stupid happening. So, here's the road. This is Winchester Road. It's a main road. Okay, here is Benton. Here is Clinton Keith currently. And what's going to happen is Clinton Keith, that sharp turn that goes like this, and then it goes over through Spencer's Crossing, it's actually going to just go like that down to Benton. Okay? There's no reason for me to tell you that, but I actually just wanted to draw a more correct map for what is going to happen here. So that's what's going to happen. This is no longer going to go up here, and then you're going to have to turn and then go down Thompson. You can just go straight down Benton, which I don't know if Benton's going to become Clinton Keith or what's going to happen, but that's what's up. So now over here, with it reversed, there is an airport. And you would be a profoundly stupid person to not realize that planes use the airport. And they land at the freaking French Valley Airport. Good night. Oh, well, you know what? I didn't, I bought the house and I was out of the country. Okay, look at Google Maps, you doomcoff. Google the area and figure out what's going on. Anyway, so this is a nuisance. It's a noise nuisance that planes land because, what happens is, there's all these shops and everything right here. There's like a piece of land and, help heal veterans and whatnot. And when they fly down and they go down low, yeah, you can hear them. Now, I live like right over here. And it doesn't bother me. I'm never eating dinner and cutting up my food and be like, I hear the planes outside. What bothers me is the people that peel out behind my house on their freaking, their stupid cars or their stupid motorbikes. I'm like, children are sleeping. I don't care what time of day it is. Bank on the fact that somebody's sleeping. Babies are napping. This is suburbia. Okay, so, but I bought a house next to a freaking airport. I know that there's going to be plane noise. And so all of my kids, their first noise, or one of their first words were, airplane, airplane. And they get excited about it. But for whatever reason, there's a lot of people who are very upset. Not a lot, maybe one person. And the person who's willing to sit there and listen to them about the noise nuisance of the French Valley Airport, which they bought a house under the flight path of. Good night. So they've decided that they're going to start trying to, go after the French Valley Airport, start limiting, I don't know, the time of day that they could fly. I don't know. It's so dumb. But so anyway, you bought a house next to an airport. So what happens is, again, buyer to do their due diligence, buyer's agent to do the due diligence on behalf of their client. Hey, listen, I don't know if when we were cruising up here, you noticed that there was a giant, or not a giant, but an airport on your right-hand side. Oh, no, I didn't. I missed it. Okay, so when you're going up Winchester Road, you pass Murrieta Hot Springs. It's the 4 miles to your right of airport. You'd really have to lack in situational awareness to be cruising down Winchester Road and not see an airport for 4 miles to your right. Oh, there's all these houses and everything to the left, and there's Rusticos. I saw this little lasagna place. Did you happen to look right for 4 miles while you were driving? Because there was the airport. So that's what the nuisance is. So of course that's something that you can disclose if you want to disclose. And of course I do, like, hey, you go, hey, Serpa, I appreciate you meeting with us. So we live pretty close to the French Valley Airport. Should I disclose that? Sure. Sure. But my God, if you have a buyer who's not a half-wit, an agent who's not a half-wit, it's probably going to come up. Anyway, so that's considered a nuisance. We live in unincorporated Riverside out here, so specifically noise ordinance is, no loud music after 10 o'clock. That being said, how often is there loud music after 10 o'clock out here? Periodically. It happens. You know what I mean? So, anyway, that happens. People are like, you know what I like to do when I'm buying in an area? I drive out there, and I hang out there. I check out the commute. I'll hang out there from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning a couple of times. See what the neighborhood sounds like. I'm like, do you really? Do you really do that? I've had people tell me that. Oh, yeah, I'll go out there. I'm like, have you had the cops call on you ever? Honey, the buyers are parked out front again. They go open the door and say, hey, Bob. Hey, Stan. In the bathrobe. Hey, Stan. Just checking out the noise nuisances in the area because it's in my 17 days of due diligence on this house, and want to make sure these airplanes aren't going to fly in too late. Anyway, I really like to check out a neighborhood in my bathrobe. Seeing how you're out here, can I use the bathroom? I've just been out here peeing in water bottles and chain smoking. All right. All right, that's enough. Okay, so that's flipping, that's it. Do you want to get your real estate license? Give me a call. 951-691-7798. I am having people call me individually right now. He said, okay, here we go. All right, we'll get serious, Adam Schiffer. We'll get serious. What would you think if a cannabis dispensary was placed next to the airport? Would this be something that would impact future schools or parks that could eventually be placed near the area? I think freedom. I think freedom. So listen, there are things that impact schools in areas negatively. One of those things is Walmart. Another one of those things is a Dollar Tree. And so what's happened is, if we're really if we're concerned about jobs, which is what we really should be concerned about, and if we're concerned about what's being built in the area, no, that's not dumb. Tom, be nice. Be nice. I see the comments. No, it is not dumb. That's a legitimate question. What would you think if a cannabis dispensary was placed next to the airport? Would this be something that would impact future schools or parks that could eventually be placed near the area? So of course, so what would end up happening is if there was going to be a dispensary that was going to be launched in French Valley, it would be heavily contested by the area and supported by me. I would have no issues with it because honestly, the more work that there is in the area, the more tax revenue that comes into the area, the more that the schools are improved, et cetera, and so forth. And so what I have seen and what is just the truth is that there's more money to be made in cannabis than there is in alcohol. Cannabis is safer than alcohol. And so what's coming in this next wave, this sort of like green, it's a green boom. They're calling it green gold. The people who are getting out ahead of it, the areas that are getting ahead of it, they're not seeing like some of them are seeing these dinky dispensaries or whatnot. But if you do it right and you select the right people, you could have it be a really classy establishment that could really bring a lot of revenue in for an area. So I would have no issues with it whatsoever. Now, Tom, on the other hand, said I would want my kids to be around it. I don't think that. I think that maybe he said he wouldn't. You would want your kids to be around it. So anyway, don't be mean, Tom. There's no reason to be mean. What would you think if a cannabis dispensary was placed next to the airport? Would this be something that would impact future schools or parks that could eventually be placed near the area? I'll tell you what it would do is it would generate business. It would generate revenue. It would, if there was a dispensary near the airport, other businesses might launch near the dispensary just because it would become somewhat of an anchor. Tell me that a bunch of moms and dads, a bunch of 30 and 40 somethings, some seniors that are interested in this because of they have joint pain or whatever, would not be down there at some point or another. So anyway, I think that it's going to. Oh well, it's going in, and construction is being done now. Wonderful. I have no issue with it whatsoever. Amy's going to be her first, their first customer. I'm telling you that there's a lot of opportunity. Even we were talking about with our comedian, we were talking about having like a 420 night. And of course, we can't have people smoking in the building, and we can't even have people probably smoking on the property or whatever. But like, the idea is to have comedians in here talking about it. One of the sponsors right now for Johnny is a cannabis business. So no issues with it. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, there's a lot of things that can and can't be done. There's a lot of restrictions or whatnot because we're looking. Anyway, I won't say too much right now, but I think that French Valley Airport, that area over there, is going to boom. I think it's going to boom, and I think that a lot of really good things are going to happen. I'm really happy with where I am right now on the map, positioned in French Valley with our community. Geez, who wouldn't be excited about a whole hell of a lot of anything that's going on right now, other than the Dollar Tree? No, I'm just kidding. My wife and my kids are excited about the Dollar Tree. Mom's is excited about the Dollar Tree. Listen, it's cheap party supplies for suburbia, right? Like, it's like, taking your kids by. I remember we used to walk down to 7-Eleven when we were kids. Yeah, like, hey, great job on your report card. Let's go down to the Dollar Tree. Here's $5. Go crazy. Mom said, you get whatever you want. So anyway, like an area has an opportunity to sort of respond to these sort of things and either get involved and influence it in the right direction, or hey, live free or die. Bah, 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 bah. Who doesn't love the Dollar Tree? Mario Rivera. Who doesn't love the Dollar Tree? So like there are people. It's just the truth. Like the Dollar Tree. Everyone's like, we want a Trader Joe's. I'm like, have you been in a parking lot at a Trader Joe's? That's a nuisance. I hate freaking Trader Joe's. I cannot stand driving in and out of those damn parking lots and how smug everybody looks when they're shopping. We've got a grocery outlet coming in. We've got a lot of really, we've got the LA Fitness coming in, but who needs an LA Fitness when you got a Crunch Fitness? But a lot of this stuff is going to be good, all the building and whatnot. We've also got a McDonald's going in. We're going to be there like 7 times a week. Tom said, sorry, Adam. You know what? I know Adam. He's a pretty good guy. I think he probably forgives you. Okay. All right, everybody. How was that? Did you enjoy day 57 of real estate school? Do you feel learned? That was day 57. That could be your day 1. All of the classes are logged on Facebook. Feel free to watch what you want to watch. Don't watch what you don't want to watch. Go to calplaces.com, get set up, get logged in, start your day, your 18 days going. Like I said, we've had over 100 people register for this adult real estate school. We're really excited to help them get started immediately as finders. Oh, here we go. A couple more questions. Would there be restrictions on vicinities, rules for a park next to the dispensary, or even a preschool? The issue is how it could negatively impact the area. I'm sure that there would be, just like there would be with a bar, right? So like you can't have a place that you serve alcohol attached to a daycare center, right? So like, in fact, it's one of the things we looked at. We're like, can we start a bar and also have a daycare attached to it? It's part of what we talked about. Can you have, and they're like, hey, listen, there's some restrictions as far as like what that goes. So like the thing is certain areas are going to be zoned differently. They're going to attract different clientele. There's really not a whole lot going on for people to like entertain themselves. And so I'm really hoping that that sort of like LA, OC, San Diego scene will start happening out here in French Valley. That way we don't have to drive down into Temecula. That way we don't have to drive down into San Diego or Orange County. I feel like, we keep turning down a lot of really good opportunities for this area. One of them was a water park. There was a water park that wanted to build out here. There's been some high density housing that people are like, no low income housing out here. Do you know the kind of people that brings? Get over yourselves. So like, I think that like, if we look at this kind of stuff and we look at, the whole picture, like, well, what will happen is in the area that the dispensary is in, which is this sort of unincorporated French Valley, it will be generating additional tax revenue, right? And then we don't want to have a preschool next door to a dispensary. But what will happen is the public preschools that are in the area, the public, schools that are in the area will have additional funding through revenue generated by these dispensaries. That's the truth. And so the thing is do you want, and that's the way that it is with anything. Do you want to have a high school attached to a bar? No, but that's what zoning is for. So like, that's part of what all of this is about. I don't have an issue. I don't think it will negatively affect the area. I feel like the people always have an opportunity to determine how an area is going to turn out. And that's leadership. And that's being a member of the community. And that's, if you're noticing that there's an issue, being a part of the group that it's going to, solve that issue without being like illegal. Okay, so Tom, like I said, I think that you are forgiven. It's okay. All right, everybody's being nice to each other. We're here. We're able to ask questions. Adam, when are you going to come into the office and come see me, my brother? Come look at this. Come look at what we're building. I will see you guys soon. Oh, you guys keep commenting. I want to go get some Starbucks before my 10 o'clock. So the entire stretch of land adjacent to the airport and land across the court building could be impacted. The revenue would go to the county in general, would it not? So so there's a lot of things that sort of like need to be revisited. You're going to be here today. Well, beautiful. I'll be looking forward to seeing you. The revenue would go to the county in general, would it not? Yes, because we're unincorporated. But what happens is when you start seeing more and more money being generated for a locality, it tends to incorporate. And what I think is either going to happen is we're either going to have a French Valley, which I think needs to happen, or you're going to see this part of Winchester, which is zoned for Temecula schools, get annexed into Temecula. Because we're already kind of set up that way. And then the area of sort of unincorporated Murrieta get, brought into Murrieta. I would love to see a French Valley established because then our tax revenue that we generate could stay here. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It probably would go to the county. And then it would be dispensed as the county sees fit. But that's one of the more of the reasons why I feel like it's going to be that much more important to have a really great board of supervisors, to have a group of people that is established, not because we don't have a city council out here because we don't have a city. So what can we do politically for our unincorporated areas to sort of protect the revenue that's being generated here so that some of it can stay here? Huh? Yeah. Well, of course, I'm running for Congress, but that's just part of it. Christian Tikas and I have been having a lot of different discussions. JP Wright has been in here talking about, the zoning for the area, the conversations that he's been having with Chuck Washington's office. And so there's a lot of things that we could do to get involved. But I think that part of that is just, getting involved, doing things that you're already doing. You're clearly more enlightened on some of these issues than I am. And so it will be interesting to talk to you when you are here, Adam. I'll be looking forward to it. Okay, I am going to get off of this call because I have 18 minutes to go get some coffee, and I try to stay well caffeinated. I'm going to go ahead and kill the feed right now on Facebook. I'll stick around for a moment on Zoom to see if anybody has any questions. Bye, guys.